05 and 06, 483,035 miles groomed. That's out of the 69 grant sponsors. Okay, 04, 05, there was 492,000 miles groomed. Okay, now along with that, there are, with them 3-4 years I just gave you, we didn't have super winners. So if we had the normal winter, we'd have a lot more miles groomed. Compared to 1998-99, there's only 289,000 miles groomed. So, and again, Grand Marais this last year groomed 26,000 miles. We groomed right around 18,000. Keweenaw, about 28,000 miles they groomed. You do that by 7 miles an hour. Go ahead.
It sure is. Wow. Crazy. All right, well, we got some work to do here. Let me start. I had some handouts at your table to kind of share with you why you got them. If I look back in history, I like to think that President Theodore Roosevelt would probably be an avid snowmobiler these days. I mean, the guy was an outdoorsman, and he'd probably be breaking, powder in Yellowstone. But I mentioned Theodore Roosevelt not only because of the quotes that you got there on the green sheet, but because I want to point out that it was Theodore Roosevelt back in his day that took a look at volunteerism in the United States. And he was wise enough to see masses of people doing good things for things that they cared about. And it was his administration that set the wheels in motion for non-profit organizations. It became codified by the Internal Revenue Service as 501s. He saw the power of association and put it into play in the United States. Now, there are other countries that have been around for centuries that still don't have this. Think about how much work for the public good gets done by organizations, associations, volunteer memberships. It's phenomenal. We're talking about the Michigan Snowmobile Association, and we're talking about the hundreds of thousands of miles of groomed trails. Think of all the other organizations, of which, how many nonprofit organizations do you think there are in the United States?
Million?
I got a million?
3,554,224.
Wrong.
Jordan. That's absurd.
That's a hell of a good guess.
1.6 million nonprofits working in the United States. There are nonprofit organizations, nonprofit associations working in other countries to help develop associations in other countries because there's such value in people helping people for the benefit of their special interests. And that's what the Michigan Snowmobile Association is. It's an association of people. I hear and have heard for years the word they. They need to do this, they need to do that, they. If you take a look at the history of associations and organizations, they are we. We are they. So, where we are at today as the Michigan Snowmobile Association, we heard from Bill kind of the history where we're at. We're going to take a look at where we're at today, and then in a few minutes here we're going to start working on where it's going to go in the future. Kind of give you some background on that. On your agendas out there, you got a couple quotes that they're kind of fun to take a look at. Yogi Berra is always my favorite. If you don't know where you're going, you might wind up somewhere else. So in my complaint letter that Jim talked about earlier tonight, I basically said, where's the strategic plan for this organization? Where's this organization going? Because it seems to be very busy and doing a lot of things, but what's its goals? Well, I got the phone call saying, help with a strategic plan. So that's what the meeting in April was about, was very similar to this. We drew out tons of ideas, and we want to try to replicate that as best we can here tonight to get your opinions, your ideas. I got to tell you, I didn't get 5 miles out of Mackinac City. Oh, that sounds like a song. 10 miles out of I didn't get 10 miles out of Mackinac City, and this guy gives me a phone call saying, I heard the meeting was great, we got to do it in Southeast Michigan. I'm like, God, I'm not even in River yet, we're planning the Southeast Michigan. But Paul was right. You know, and damn the Red Wings, but I really think we would have a lot more people here tonight if they didn't have plans watching the Red Wings. So thanks, Mike, for having people see this on the internet. We're here tonight not only to learn, as we have, about grant sponsors and to learn about the history of the MSA, but we're here to really build the foundation of the Michigan Snowmobile Association strategic plan. You're the stakeholders. Without your opinions, without your input, a strategic plan would be worthless. A strategic plan is a living, breathing document that guides the organization. There are obviously many issues. Grant sponsors are one of them. How we groom trails, you know, is certainly what we've been talking about tonight. I truly think that the board is on the right track here. You had asked me 2 years ago, as Paul and I got to know each other, I didn't think so. They are. The MSA leadership is on the right track, in my opinion, and this is the right time to conduct strategic planning. But here's the challenge. I'm happy to invest my time in working these focus groups, but the challenge that we have for the MSA leadership is then to take this and then for them to do some more work over time to develop that strategic planning document that will then guide the organization to even further greatness. Don talks about a high bar, and there sure is. We can see, as Bill talked about, and I'm thinking in a graph, the miles, the milestones that this organization has overcome over the years. What was the one, the issue in '89 or something was three-wheelers on trails. You know, there's always issues in this organization, as we learned at the April meeting, is always dealing with new and increasingly challenging issues. So we kind of looked at where we were with Bill. We're at the beginning of planning for the future now. That's where we're at. I believe where the MSA is at, and I applaud the leadership of the MSA for doing that. But now it's to find out where we're going to go. This is where we need you guys to give us the opinions, to give us what you see as the issues and the solutions. So I've got a couple exercises we'll go through. I'm going to need your cooperation to kind of make it go efficiently. We're going to break out in some groups. I'll give you the exercise in just a minute. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms plus this room. How many do we have? Do we do a head count? 30?
I do not.
Okay. We'll do the count off in a few minutes, but just housekeeping wise, we got this room back here. There's a stack of chairs, you can grab them. There's a corner room there, there's a stack of chairs, and then there's, I don't know if we'll need to use both rooms back here, but there's a stack of chairs that way. Yeah, when we get there. Okay, but here's the first exercise, and think about this a little bit. The question is, what are the internal and external influences on snowmobiling in the state of Michigan? You want to extrapolate that to snowmobiling in general, for those of you who have some knowledge of what's happened out west.
Environment.
Bring that into the discussion. So this is the question. What are the internal and external influences on snowmobiling here in Michigan? And from this point, we're going to do some, how are we going to do this? We're going to pass out numbers. And we're going to do this kind of randomly because if you're sitting next to somebody, you probably know that somebody. So we're going to try to mix you up so you're not with that somebody.
We're mixed up anyway.
Get you to, because if you're sitting next to somebody, you probably share those opinions, right? You've already talked to them. So we're going to try to diversify your opinions and pull them out. How many numbers do we have, Karen? 5. So we got 5 groups.
I want to trade a number. I don't want to be in your group. Are you a 5?
No. Who?
I'm just joking. I'm don't mind.
Yeah, you know, your group is over.
You know, I can change that to 7 real easy too. You know. Hey.
As you're getting your numbers, you're going to have 5 groups. Once you get your groups, you need to identify a spokesperson. Somebody who's going to come up here and report to the group what your group came up with.
No, here, give me.
All right? And I would suggest that somebody be a scribe. Somebody take a sheet of paper, right on the back of it, write down those notes. It could be the same person. We're going to abbreviate this exercise. We're going to go no more than 15 minutes. We're going to bring it back. We're going to go through an abbreviated manner of getting this material up. If we have repeats,